In many fundamental ways, NASCAR is unique and different from every other major sporting league in America. You can see it with just the eye test alone. But there is one way that it is exactly the same, or at least the same fundamentally, and that being the mix of discipline and experience in the craft to get to the top level. And by that basic element is the extent of these similarities. When you look at the pathway most NASCAR drivers take to get to the Cup Series, it is linear but not structured. You have more lower level or local level series that drivers start with, then maybe regional ones like the ARCA East and West, and maybe ARCA in general, then the Truck, Xfinity, and then if you're lucky enough, you'll make it to the top in Cup. But these steps can be interchangeable or skipped, and in many ways, it's just not something that's easy to really track and see. Look at it compared to something like football, for instance, where you have youth football, middle school football, 4 years of high school football, 3 to 4 years of college football, and then if you're lucky enough to be that good, you make it to the NFL. It's regimented, it's structured, and fans know exactly when a player is ready for the most part. The point I have with this comparison is that it's arguably harder to judge when a talent is ready for the top level of NASCAR rather than any other sport. But even so, we've seen quite a bit of talk recently about Cup maturity and experience and what it takes to truly be ready for the top level of NASCAR. The main two drivers that people seem to have been having this debate around have been on complete opposite ends of the spectrum, with Gibbs and Noah Gragson. Both have had their share of success in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, NASCAR's second-tier series, but each driver has different reasons for why many fans are wanting him to jump to Cup. For Gibbs, it's a huge mix of his winning performance as well as the fact that Martin Truex Jr. might retire from driving the number 19 Toyota, and there's a real possibility that Kyle Busch may not be driving the number 18 Toyota in 2023 as well. Many see this as an obvious choice, but outside of openings and the stat book, there's a big intangible that has really set Gibbs behind the Cup bar. And that is Cup maturity. While the Cup Series has been made into a hyper-aggressive series since the implementation of the elimination-style playoff format, there still is a bit of give and take, taking care of each other, and maturity in that series. Stuff that Gibbs at the moment just has none of. Gibbs has shown that he will drive through his competition rather than give any respect whatsoever. He doesn't seem to understand why he gets it back, and when he doesn't have the best car or things go wrong, he has shown that he'll melt down. While he may have pure talent to race in Cup, he needs more Xfinity time to get Cup ready. Possibly a window into Gibbs' future could be that of Noah Gragson. Gragson has run 3 going on 4 full-time seasons in the Xfinity Series for JR Motorsports number 19. And every season he has built upon the last and improved in some way. In 2019, he was far from being competitively elite, and he was winless, finishing 8th in points. He was brash, lacked maturity, and many fans were asking if he was even overrated to the point of not being an Xfinity caliber driver. Fast forward to 2020, and Gragson got his first 2 wins, and he ran incredibly consistent in that season, being a championship threat, but not a championship favorite. Still, with no real Cup ride, Gragson would come back in 2021 to drive the 9 car. While starting the season slowly, he and the 9 team kept their composure as it went on, even if things didn't go right. This led to a late season resurgence, and it cemented him as an elite driver in the Xfinity Series. And then you have him this year. In 14 races, he has 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and 10 top 10s, and he's also looked to have matured to a Cup-ready level driver. While he hasn't had the best runs in his 6 Cup starts this year with Colleague, his top 20 at Kansas should pique a bit of interest as it was a pretty tough race. But 2 drivers in progress can always swing one way or another. To kind of further this thought, let's quickly look at 3 drivers who were rushed to Cup and 3 drivers who took the time to develop. Starting off, let's look at the rushed. Danica Patrick was one of the most hyped up drivers of all time in NASCAR. And in hindsight, many would say she was overhyped. While being part-time in 2010 and 2011, the nationwide series, she only spent one full season in it in 2012. And in that 2012 season, she did show some promise. She got 4 top 10s, which isn't that great, but a 10th place points finish at season's end. The biggest glimpse of her potential being a race where she should have won at Montreal. But with her being rushed to Cup in 2013, she was thrown to the wolves and really never got her head above water. There were brief flashes in 2014 at Kansas and Atlanta where she legitimately was a top 5 driver, but those were few and far between in her career. But had she been given more of a chance to develop and maybe an extra year or two in the nationwide Xfinity Series, who knows? Maybe she could have had better results in Cup and maybe been a fringe top 16 playoff driver. In the late 2000s, there was a young phenom who was making waves to the NASCAR world. Nicknamed Sliced Bread, this kid was hailed as the next Jeff Gordon, and this kid was a teenage Joey Logano. If you watch NASCAR today, you'll know that Logano was one of the best drivers around, but it wasn't always like this. In 2009, Logano was set up to replace Tony Stewart in the 20 car as he had left to go to Stewart-Haas Racing. This was done as he was only 18 years old, and at this point he had never run a full season in any nationally touring series. The result was probably what you would expect. Disappointment for the first 4 years of his Cup career, where he lucked into a win at New Hampshire and then moved his hero Mark Martin for another at Pocono, with a career high of a 16th place points finish in that time and never being even close to a Chase caliber driver. It would take him moving to Penske in his 5th season in Cup for him to get anywhere close to expectations, which he has since at least reached. And nowadays, you can see another young driver who's been rushed up to Cup in Harrison Burton. Burton ran the 2020 and 2021 seasons in the Xfinity Series, and from the 20 season to 21, he actually regressed. For this, he was thrust up to the Cup Series to be in the famous number 21 Wood Brothers Ford. And so far in 16 races, he sits 28th in the points behind drivers like Ty Dillon and Cole Custer. With a season-high finish of 11th at Charlotte, it's been a disappointing season, even if he's racing for a team that hasn't finished in the top 10 in points since 1994. Now, while there are plenty of good rushing examples, there are some good examples of taking time to mature. Starting with NASCAR's most popular driver, Chase Elliott. Elliott has had quite a large and publicized rise in NASCAR. He spent 2 years in the Xfinity Series in 2014 and 15, racing the aforementioned JRM9. In this time, he finished first and second points and was deemed in 2016 by Rick Hendrick to be ready for the Cup Series. Since then, he's become a winner, an elite driver, and in 2020, a Cup Series champion. But he's not the only one that's run well in Cup after taking time to mature. Brad Keselowski drove 2.5 seasons in JRM's 88 Chevrolet while also racing part-time in Cup for Rick Hendrick as well as Phoenix Racing in 2008 and 2009 before running a full-time Cup Series season in the Team Penske 12 car in 2010. And while he struggled immensely that season, he gave Dodge and the captain a nationwide series title, and by 2012, he had done the same thing in Cup. But the king of seat time before the Cup Series, in my opinion, is that of Greg Biffle. Biffle ran 3 seasons from 1998 to 2000 in the Truck Series, scoring 14 wins in the 2000 championship in the process. This got him to the Busch Series, where he ran 2 full seasons in 2001 and 2002, and he yet again would win a championship, this time the 2002 Busch Series title, thus leading to the 2003 rookie year in Cup that he had. But he didn't run very well, finishing 20th in points in 03 and 17th in 04, with a combined 3 wins in this time, but never in any way being an elite level talent. So after struggling in 2003, he ran double duty in 2004, and while it didn't immediately equate to great Cup runs, what did the extra seat time get him? Well, it got him his best career season in 2005 with 5 wins and a runner-up championship finish. Now, this isn't a perfect science. There's of course going to be drivers who buck trends. They'll have seat time but fail, or have no seat time and no real experience in the lower series comparatively, like a Kyle Larson, and become a champion. But overall, if it can be done, it should. Too many young drivers have been unnecessarily chewed up and spit out in Cup before they had a chance because they were rushed up to the top level before they were ready. Labeled busts because they didn't immediately perform at the level of a Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson. But that's just what I think. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think NASCAR should try to build more of a system that allows drivers to have more seat time if they elect to do so? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you as well to all of my channel members for your continued support, and until next time, have a good one.